Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of RIVERUSH Outdoors. Today we're not going to be fishing, we're not going to be hunting. Well, we are going to be hunting, but it's shed hunting. No, not that kind of shed. I'm talking about deer antlers. Deer antlers fall off, as everyone knows, hopefully. If you don't, deer antlers fall off every year and they're regrown, and they're out there just laying around, ready, waiting to be found. Today is March 6th, and I love going out in March. Once it starts growing green and the grass starts growing, these antlers start disappearing, literally. Right now, the snow is melted, everything's flat, the grass is flat, the woods are flat, so it's a little easier to find these antlers. Today's an overcast day. Absolutely the best time to go is overcast or even in the rain. Don't be afraid to go in the rain. Right now I'm on a farmer's field that it's one of my better spots. One of my first tips is access. Most farmers, if you ask them to go shed hunting, they'll let you go because these antlers can cause holes in tires. Tractor tires are expensive, so they don't really mind usually. I mean, you're not taking a gun or anything, you're just walking around, right? So that's a good tip. Grass fields that are cut or mowed regularly, or even just flat again from the winter time, they're probably the easiest places to find antlers. What I wear, obviously it's pretty nice today. It's like 44 degrees, 43 degrees, and so I dress kind of light, you know, a t-shirt, nice flannel shirt, and then a vest. You're going to be doing a lot of walking, so you don't want to be sweating. You know, that's what's going to happen. You're going up and down hills and everything too. So I wear knee-high rubber boots. That's so I can cross creeks if I need to, or get through the mud. It's a muddy time of the year, right? And there's lots of wet areas, so good idea to wear knee-high rubber boots. You can wear brush pants if you want. That's a good idea. You're going to be going through some thick areas. Yeah. And the biggest thing is to carry a quality set of binoculars, 10 power I recommend. Instead of walking over to something that you see in the distance that looks like an antler, then you can just grab the binos. And I've actually found a bunch of them with the binoculars. Thought it looked like an antler, and sure enough, glassed it and it was. So you want to save time, you want to cover ground and cover as much as possible, efficiently as possible. So the thing about antlers is this curve that they have, and you can imagine the main beam curve, the curve of the tines, three curves coming up next to each other. Obviously, you know, that stands out. You know, it's something, it's bone colored, and if you see those curves, or just two curves, even just one point sometimes, but look for that curve of an antler, and the color, of course, that bone color. But you'll as you find these antlers, you'll figure out that that's what you're keying in on, is that shape, that antler shape. So usually they fall off the head with the tines up. I mean, I've found them tines down before, of course, but I would say more than 3/4 of the time, tines are going to be sticking up when they fall off. The name of the game is walking. It's time, and it's miles, and it's hours, and eventually you'll get it, and it's a blast. It's exciting. You know, you're the first person that's touched it if you find one, for sure. And when they're big, you know, obviously the bigger the better. Oh my God, my biggest ones. It's so exciting when you find them. It's like, oh my God, what a buck, you know, just to have his antlers, to know he's there. I'm gonna get going here, start walking, and see what we find. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. Well, right away, you know, one thing you're gonna find a lot of when you're out here doing this is bones. You know, they're the same color as antlers, and so that's exactly, I mean, there wasn't, right over there's my truck, so that's how far away I was, and bam, damn if I didn't think this was an antler, but it was just a couple of bones. Here, I'll show you. So that's the color you're looking for, man. Like I said, you're gonna find a lot of bones. Another bone, it's the right color. Picking up stuff like that right there. Look at that. Then if you're finding bones, of course, dead bucks are just as good as shed antlers. Antlers are antlers, you know, whether they're on a skull or whether they're shed antlers. So, hey, you never know. That's what we're out here for. So, found dead bucks are just as good as sheds. Even if it's chewed up shed antlers, I still keep them. Maybe that's silly, you know, some people might leave them, but if I know it's an antler, even if it's 10 years old, by the way, wanted to clear something up right here from my experience anyhow. A lot of people think that these shed antlers get chewed up pretty quickly, but from my experience, I don't think they do. I think they can last possibly 10, 15 years out there. So, you know, I have some examples of matched sides that I found the year after I found the green side. I call them green when they freshly dropped, by the way, that year. You'd be surprised how long they actually last. In fact, I know I found some that have been laying out there for 5+ years for sure, and not a bite mark on them. So, you know, my opinion is they last a lot longer than guys think. So I'm almost done with this little field. I didn't find anything, but deer droppings, that was my next topic. So if you are in a good spot where there's going to be antlers, one thing that's going to stick out to you is the amount of deer droppings. So yarding areas, prime feeding areas during the lean times of the year in the winter, it's going to be littered with it. This field this year is not, so right away I knew I was probably not going to find one, but you got to try. But definitely one of my best tips is, if you're not walking on a carpet of deer droppings, or at least a lot, then there's probably not a lot of activity when they're actually dropping their antlers, right, in late winter. So look for that. And when you find that, that probably means a yarding area. These yarding areas too, they'll use them year after year after year. So if you find that area where there's a carpet of deer droppings on the trails, then that could be one of your hot spots. And now I'm gonna go, I'm done with that little field, but these trails out of this grassy field, this is kind of what I was talking about, and I'll show you here in a second. But these trails from these food sources in the wintertime are pretty evident. I'm up in the woods now, just following heavily used trails, and haven't found anything yet, but this is a good patch of woods again. This is one of my better areas, so we'll see. This is a good example right here of one of the main trails that I'm talking about. You can clearly see that trail, so just follow that right on out as far as it goes. Once in a while you'll run, see this is actually a confluence of two trails, so now you have a dilemma, right? In situations like this, I'll just remember this trail's here and maybe try to come back to the truck down it, you know. But definitely when I come to these confluences, I look up that trail as far as I can, use my binoculars to see if I can see any up there. But I'm gonna take this one. Another bone color. I'm gonna have to say raccoon there, man. Right there's the little skull I was just talking about. Right there's our first antler. See it? Kind of hard to see, but boy, it's a nice one too. See how old that is? See how it's all chewed up? Huh. Damn. I'll bet you that some of it's fresh, but some of it's old. I'll bet you that antler that's an example of one that's been laying there for 2 years, I'll bet. So, again, yeah, it's all chewed up. I'm gonna keep it though, what the hell, man? That's what I'm out here for, right? That's a nice one too. Would have been a nice one if it was green, but yeah. All right, now the next thing, of course, look around for the other one. I'll bet you, well, again, my experience is almost half the time I find one, I'll find the other nearby, sometimes right next to each other. Of course, this one's old, so it could have been picked up by a raccoon, but well, more likely a fox, coyote, or something like that, and carried a long ways. So the other one, in this instance, may not be close by, but what the hell? Another one for the collection. I have to show you what I do every time I find one, by the way. When I'm walking through the woods and I find one, I always raise my hand. Just like in my fishing videos, it's like, yes, yes. So much work and walking and hours and hours and hours, you know, and when you find one, it's like, damn, it's worth it. So anyhow, there it is. It's, like I said, man, I wish I found that one green. It's a nice block. Might still be alive. Maybe we'll find his green one this year, so. Thought you'd like earlier, just before I found what you're about to see, I thought I pressed record, but I obviously did not. So I just wanted to give you a little narrative. I did not see this until it was about 10 feet from me, believe it or not. But it is cool. Here you go. Nice. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice buck. Too bad, man. Cool. You know, this has obviously been here a while, right? You can tell by all the moss and stain on it and everything. But very little chewing. And that is something with dead bucks that I have noticed, actually. And I'm not sure what it is. But when the antlers are attached to the skull, for whatever reason, they don't chew it. I don't know why. As much, anyhow. I mean, I have found chewed up skulls, but bam! Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Nice dead buck like that. Nice 8-pointer. I'll hang it at my house. I love them. So, anyhow, bam! Worth all the walk. So, yeah. Went out shed hunting, as you know. You've been following this video, so found a pretty nice 8-point dead buck. Old, but not chewed up at all. Look good hanging in my woods. You know, I hang them along the driveway and stuff. So that was not dropped this year or last year, but the year before. Pretty nice 8-pointer. Wish I found it when it was green. But anyhow, it's a blast to get out here and do this time of the year. Highly recommend it. I hope everything you've watched and seen today is giving you some tips on what to look for, where to go, how to find them, how to dress, and just stay positive, man. You'll find them eventually, I promise. They're out there to find all over the place, and it's just a good sport, good healthy sport, actually. So good exercise involved. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you next time on River Rush Outdoors.